I'm in Beeston today, and there's a room at the back of this church full of volunteers who fix things, and they fix things for free. Neighbours helping neighbours. Let's go and take a look. Welcome to the Beeston Repair Café. Recognise that, Chris? Some sort of
power unit.
Modern TV screen, I reckon.
Probably not that modern,
okay.
Because it says last test. Well, it was second-hand at cash converters, tested 5th of the 5th.
Oh right.
Suggests so.
Yeah.
20 years ago, it was
19,
second-hand
20
in
years. Yeah.
cash converters. So I think it's pretty ancient. But it's a friend's.
Right.
And I don't think it's been used much, but the dog's managed to jump on the table and knock it flying.
Oh dear.
And it hasn't worked since. So I said, well, if I get a chance, I'll bring it along and just have a quick look. So
Nice one.
I don't know. It's, there's nothing to lose.
No.
But we normally don't bother with televisions at these events because it either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And if it's something obvious like connector's loose or something like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's not really much we can do at these events.
Well,
so,
you don't get a lot of.
I mean, there's nothing in it. I mean, there's a board. That's the power supply.
Yeah.
And that's like the electronics for it.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's so little in a television nowadays.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But yeah, I thought perhaps as it had been knocked on the floor, there might have been a crack on the board or something. But there's nothing.
What's the most interesting thing
obvious.
that you repaired then, or something you'd really enjoyed repairing?
There was a keyboard here earlier. It was a Yamaha keyboard. Yeah, a Yamaha keyboard with. It was quite big. The keys were like proper piano keys.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was a bit worried because I thought it could be ever so expensive. But having fixed it, he says, "Oh, I bought that for 20 quid." So it wasn't. But it was a really nice. And the only thing that was wrong with it was over age.
Yeah.
It's the fluff and hairs and got inside. And when you push the key, it didn't make a contact.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yamaha, of course, is a good.
Yeah, it was a Yamaha. It was a
mate,
proper. It was a proper thing. It looked professional. So.
Yeah.
But he picked it up for next to nothing, and he was happy. So
you got the enjoyment of.
So we got the enjoyment of fixing that.
And his bargain.
The worry of destroying something expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Saved it from going to.
Saved him from
landfill.
Because it worked most of the time. Well, you can't play music if the keys work some of the time and not others.
No.
So,
no, it doesn't work, does it?
No, it's not going to be any good. So he's happy. So yeah.
Brilliant.
So we're doing all right, I think.
So do you do invisible mending?
Vanessa does
I try, but I also do visible mending.
Oh, okay.
Like this,
Depending on how you want it to look.
Yeah.
To make it more of a thing, a feature.
That makes sense, yeah.
So Martin, what have you got here?
We've got a dehumidifier that's not working.
Okay, dehumidifier.
Dehumidifier, yeah.
And of course, you probably need it in this weather, don't you?
Yes. Just gonna get a tester.
So have you been involved for a while, Martin?
Yes, I've been involved, yeah. A while, yep.
So is electronics your background then? Or just
a hobby, yes.
Hobby, okay. So do you have to do like a mini pack test when people bring electrical things in before you sort of start meddling with them?
Yeah, I have to bring it a pack test stuff, just check it's safe and then
safe for you
to fiddle with.
And
and then when it leaves, pack test again, check it's safe for them to use. Yeah.
Fantastic. Any? Do you think we might get it fixed?
I don't know. I have all my trust in Martin, but we don't really know what the issue is, so it's always harder.
Yeah.
If you come to the repair cafe, it's always better to have an idea of what is wrong, and if possible, bring the spare pieces with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Which I didn't do, so.
So, Rose, what's your involvement in the Beeston Repair Café?
So I help organise all the Eventbrite slots and work out how many electricians we have, how many textile, how many general workers, try and put a few bike fixes on. Some of the general fixers can do the bike fix. And then basically I get all the names from Eventbrite, and then on the day I can tick off if people come, and in general just help make sure people communicate,
sort of general
help people
managing.
together.
Yeah.
Admin.
Where do you get your volunteers from?
So a lot of them, when we first had the idea, we had a Broxtowe Green Umbrella forum,
Right.
and people could sign up for things from that, and then part of it was word of mouth, and then since then we've put posts out on Facebook, so we've got a few from our Facebook page or our
And it's
Instagram
been
page.
going about a year?
It's pretty much a year, so we started on the King's Coronation Day,
Right.
which was a bank holiday. We were hoping it'd be a bit quiet, and we did that very much through word of mouth, whereas now we do posters and Eventbrite, so if people are interested, they need to follow Beeston Fixers on Eventbrite. Around here we've got Sherwood, Heworth, both Bridgeford, here obviously. So there's quite a few just within this area,
Yeah.
which is why we only do it 4 times a year, but then we try and offset it. So pretty much every month someone's probably got a repair cafe on somewhere.
Yeah. And
But
you're-
really we're doing it because we want to keep things out of landfill.
Yeah.
A lot of people have just got very environmental ethos, so they're willing
Yes.
to give their time
Yeah.
to fix things.
Which is
for free.
all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you meet every other month-ish, or is it 3 times
Well,
a year?
we have four
so-
times a year, so pretty much we go for these months: January, May, July, and October. They're
Yeah.
the months that we'll do it, and we try and do it towards the end of the month. Because sometimes they have an event here, and then we can just reuse the tables.
Yeah.
We didn't this time because of the bank holiday.
And you're pretty active on social media.
Yeah, there's Facebook and Instagram.
Yes.
Which does that for us.
Go on then, what's your Facebook site?
I think it'd just be Beeston Repair Café.
Yeah, it's on the screen now anyway.
Are they in your? Can they go in there?
All this food's making me hungry. So Chris, plants at a repair shop, what's that all about?
Well, in the past, I mean, I've been involved in running seed and plant swaps locally for probably at least 10 years. And in fact, we used to run them at the other Methodist church opposite Sainsbury's.
Oh yes.
Opposite Sainsbury's car park.
Yeah.
Just for that. But that church is now closed, so we have this venue here. One of the ladies that helps me run these is part of the church congregation, so we thought this would be a good venue. And initially we ran them kind of separately, independently of the repair cafes.
Okay.
And then we kind of got talking to each other and thought there was kind of overlap or sort of synergy between the two. So
it might attract similar people.
And it's also encouraging people to reuse things, do their own thing, repair things, grow their own things. So starting last year, we started running the events on the same date as the repair cafes rather than separate. We've got enough room at the moment, and it's a good space near central Beeston, car parking, so it's all working very well.
Are you a green-fingered person then?
I am, yes. I'm a gardener and grower myself.
Do you have an allotment?
I don't have an allotment, but
Bit of a plot.
I have my back garden, and I've got front and back garden, but I grow things in my back garden. I have a greenhouse in my back garden, and for anybody that's lucky enough to have a greenhouse, you can grow things like chilies and that really need more protection from outdoor weather that probably wouldn't grow that well outdoors. And the great thing about a greenhouse as well is your growing season is pretty much extended around a month, both at the start of the season and the end of the season.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Because obviously a greenhouse, both with daytime temperatures and more importantly the overnight temperatures will be warmer than everything that's exposed outdoors. You can start earlier and put them in a greenhouse a month earlier than they'd be safe to be outdoors. And then when we get into the autumn and everything starts getting colder, you know, the greenhouse gives it an extra month of protection. So for things that are a bit more exotic, or even just something as simple as a chili plant, or cucumbers that are also very sensitive to temperature, they're a lot easier to grow in greenhouses if you're lucky enough to have one.
Speaking from a non-gardener, what's the easiest thing to grow? I remember growing cress when I was at school.
Yeah,
on a bit of, would it have been blotting paper?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, we've got some egg cress seeds there if anybody wants any.
Okay.
So in fact, if you want to have a go at growing cress yourself for old time's sake, you're very welcome. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you give us a small donation before you leave, for 50p or something, and then you can have some fun growing cress for old time's sake. Yeah. I think probably the most popular thing to grow is tomatoes, of course.
Yeah. I do grow moneymaker, Alicante in pots.
Yep. In fact, I
wouldn't call myself a gardener, but I think quite easy to grow, aren't they?
Yeah, I think moneymaker and Alicante are very similar, aren't they?
Yeah.
Very, very similar. And they're the really popular ones that get given away with gardening magazines, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're reliable, cheap and cheerful, easier to grow than some of the more exotic ones. I think that's why they're called moneymaker, because they're so reliable and easy to grow. They're probably not considered the best tasting ones, actually.
No.
If you get, I don't know, it's probably a bit too late this year, but certainly for next year, try and grow something a bit more unusual. Do you know there's thousands and thousands of different varieties, and most people have seen maybe half a dozen in a supermarket, but there are literally thousands. This is my personal favourite tomato. It's called summer cider.
Okay.
And this is actually a very large orange tomato. They get about that big. I personally like orange tomatoes, and the big tomatoes take a longer season to grow, and they probably wouldn't do that well outdoors, but in a greenhouse you can have success.
Well, you're talking like sort of breakfast tomato size when you say big.
Yeah, some people call them beef
tomato.
Yeah, some people call them beef or beefsteak. So it's one of those. I'm also originally from Somerset.
Okay.
So there's the cider connection as well. So for all those three reasons, that's my personal favourite tomato. And he's not here today, and I haven't seen him for a few years. I don't know. I hope he's okay. But there's a guy who lives in Stapleford, and this is also his favourite tomato. And he's saved seeds and given them away to lots and lots of people over the years. So he's probably done more than anybody to, maybe in the country, to sort of popularise this variety.
Karen, recycling clothes. I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't expect to see that at a repair cafe.
Yeah, well, it's all part of the same ethos.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, not throwing things away. So people bring their clothes that they no longer want, and I give them a ticket, and then they swap. They look on the rails and see if there's anything that they fancy, and they give me the ticket back, and walk away with the clothes.
So it is
it's
like
just a
clothes
swap. Yeah. So they're just swapping.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I've never heard of that before.
No money exchanged.
No,
yeah.
That's great.
We're outside of the capitalist society.
Yeah, brilliant. Do you find it seasonal then? Or
it's difficult to be seasonal, really. You know, we have to just have whatever people bring us. So, yeah.
No, but like this time of the year, do you find people are getting rid of or wanting to put winter clothes on your hanger?
Yeah, not really. No, I mean it's quite random, really. Yeah.
Okay.
So far.
So, Christian, what are you actually doing here at the repair
Well,
cafe?
I'm a general fixer, and I fix all sorts of things apart from electrical items.
Okay.
So it might be small pieces of furniture, some children's toys, children's scooters I had here. Sometimes I get also umbrellas, which is a bit unusual.
Yeah.
And this morning, this early afternoon, I fixed an old doll, a 75-year-old doll. That was very unusual, and all it needed is some elastic band inside that kept the arms and legs and the heads together. So it's exciting, and I think that's what I like about the repair cafes. You never quite know what comes in, and you have to think of your feet, and sometimes you have to improvise and see if you can fix it.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Or sometimes they just give the advice. If we can't fix it, we can at least guide people in the right direction, and maybe to other professionals.
I imagine when you got the arms back on that doll, the owner was quite pleased.
They were both very pleased. She was a mum and her daughter. So it was the mum. She has had the doll for 75 years.
Yeah.
She got it when she was 2, and then she has passed it on to her daughter now.
Yeah.
And it has always been in pieces in terms of arms. He had been off the head. He was very loose and floppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you've brought it back to a doll's life, so to speak.
I did, yes. And the doll, she still needs a bit of cleaning, but I've been able to give some advice on that. It's some very old plastic. And I think you need to be careful there that you don't overdo it, don't actually go with harsh cleaning substances or solvents onto the plastic, because it could damage it. Yeah.
You're a bit of a DIY.
I like DIY. I'm keen fixer at home and try to do everything myself.
Yeah.
We live in a 1930s house. The house needed a lot of work, and at some point I started to do more and more.
Yeah.
And got really into it, but it's far from my profession. My profession actually is in teaching.
Yeah, I do a bit of that.
And so I quite like this, because in my profession I also need to think of my feet and sometimes improvise, and I'm doing something similar here.
Yeah.
And of course I'm saving things from landfill as well.
And how long have you been involved in the Beeston Repair Café?
Well, since actually it started in January 2023, so since the first meeting,
Yeah.
I have been involved in it, and I love it.
Fantastic.
We come together every 3 months or so. Yeah, as I said, you never know what comes in, and sometimes you have to consult with your colleagues so that you have a different expertise, and so we complement each other, and it's a great thing.
So Claire, you bought what is it, an easel?
Yeah, an easel and a paintbrush that's lost a pin in the bottom, so
Right,
it's a bit
okay.
loose.
And have you been down to this repair cafe before?
I've been at previous ones, but I didn't bring anything to repair. Actually, no, sorry, I did once. I did bring a needlework, a fabric piece to repair.
And was that repaired?
Yes, it was.
Still
yes,
active,
it's still.
so to speak,
Yeah, it
with
was
a
a
living?
top, so it's meant I could actually wear it. So
It's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah,
This sort
yeah.
of,
Well, yeah, because it means that you don't have to go and buy another easel, basically.
and of course you're saving stuff from
going to landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the problem with the easel was that it had a detachable tool that you had to put in a bolt that meant when you unwind that bolt,
Right.
you're able to put the easel up and then down again.
Right.
So it meant it was stuck in the up position.
Right. Okay. So I'm trying to get that sorted out now.
So you're better off having that as a temporary replacement. But I think the issue also is that when you tighten it up, it gets too close to the wood. So I have some little piece of metal inside here, so you can still actually screw it on and tighten it up, but it gives you a little bit, or gives him your boyfriend a bit more, gives us a bit more distance, and you can actually just turn it around.
Thank you.
Agnus, you've got a sewing machine in front of you.
Well, it is an overlocker.
Oh, overlocker,
Overlocker,
okay.
yes,
Shows
yeah.
I know about sewing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes, I'm just learning how to do it.
Okay.
Because I usually use a sewing machine, but it is a bit different. It can make the zigzag and the straight and cut the fabrics. It is very versatile.
And how long have you been involved in the repair cafe? Was this your first time? Or?
No, I have been doing it for a year, probably.
Okay.
For a year. Yes, I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, and you meet a lot of different people.
Yes, yeah.
So it's got a social aspect to it as well.
As well, yeah.